adult learning styles and practical tips to make the most of yours right now. Differences are what makes life interesting, right? Same goes for learning, but we don't all learn in the same way, not as kids and definitely not as adults. Does understanding different learning styles matter though? Well, imagine being a paso doble dancer stuck in a ballet class. Both paso doble and ballet are beautiful dances, but they're just different styles. What if someone enjoys fancy philosophical debates and they're stuck in a lecture where mere facts are read out? Not the most effective way for them to learn either. That's why, in case you're wondering, certain lessons have stuck with you over the years, while others have slipped away, or why you find certain tasks enjoyable, while others are something you dread or you struggle with to this day. But what if every book you read, every class you took, every new skill you attempted to pick up was completely in sync with how you naturally learn? This is more attainable than you think. As someone who's worked with adults since 2012, I'm here to help you understand your unique learning style. And this can be a game changer, not only in terms of your academic pursuits, but also anything that qualifies as a lifelong ambition of yours. So let's dive in and explore the fascinating world of adult learning styles. First of all, what are they? Well, they can simply be defined as diverse ways in which people absorb, process, and retain information. There are many on adult learning theory. For example, there's David Kolb's experiential learning, which suggests that adults learn through reflection on doing. And then a very famous theory, Howard Gardner's theory, multiple intelligences, which proposes that adults have different types of intelligences. So notice the plural here, something that could be linguistic, logical, mathematical, spatial, or of any other nature. And that means that people learn best when the teaching approach aligns with their dominant intelligence. And this is exactly what I'm talking about in this video, identifying your learning style so that you basically optimize your learning process. What are some differences between adult and child learning? First of all, let's try not to talk about the myth of learning in a more difficult way when you're an adult. I don't think that's the case in my experience. Unlike children, in fact, adults bring a wealth of experience to the learning table. And while children's learning is driven by curiosity and exploration, adults are more goal-oriented in education, and this certainly helps. Adults want to know the relevance of what they're learning and also how whatever they're learning can be translated into real-life skills. So all of this is very helpful. Adults are also self-directed learners. Unlike children who rely on teachers to tell them what to do, adults take the initiative and make decisions about what and how to learn. However, there seem to be more limiting beliefs, so these assumptions when it comes to learning that characterize adult learning rather than child learning. And to find out more about this, an example being, I can't do this because I'm just not used to it, or I've never been good at maths, I will link in the video description below a blog post of mine on how to overcome these limiting beliefs. Alright then, so 10 adult learning styles. The first one is visual. Obviously, if you're a visual learner, then you learn best through seeing. And there's a saying for it, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So if you're a visual learner, you retain information by it being presented visually to you rather than through speech. I'm a visual learner, for example. So if I were you, I would use images, reading materials, diagrams, flip charts, mind maps, and color coding. This helps a great deal, and it also assists you with organization. The second learning style is auditory. Again, this is self-explanatory. It just means that you retain information by hearing it. So you might excel when you listen to a presentation, or sometimes you might even recall a conversation verbatim, which is quite an achievement. Practical tips: if you're auditory, you should listen to podcasts, you should record lectures if you're a student and just play them back to remember the information. You should use mnemonic devices for memory, and if you're curious what these are, again, I'm going to provide a link to a blog post of mine that talks about tips for students, and this includes mnemonic devices you can utilize, and they're great fun, I can assure you. As an auditory learner, you should also read out loud when studying, even if it might bother others, but it's for your benefit. You should ask for spoken feedback, and then you should take part in discussions in order to learn. Style number 3, kinesthetic learners. So this learner needs to move in order to learn, fair enough. So they need to touch, to do something. They might actually prefer practicing a physical task rather than reading about it, and that means they could find traditional classroom learning challenging, right? Which isn't a problem in itself, it's just about adapting the teaching and learning method. So if you're kinesthetic, you should focus on practical tasks, you should do role-play exercises, act out scenarios, use body language when presenting because this is an asset of yours. Employ physical objects for learning, and take frequent short breaks during study sessions. Don't feel bad about doing that. Style 4, logical learners. So I'll give you an example of a syllogism. All mammals are animals, all elephants are mammals, therefore all elephants are animals. This is how a logical learner thinks. They are basically the Sherlock Holmes of learning. They love solving problems, puzzles. They also use logical steps in order to tackle a challenge. And they excel at recognizing patterns, especially numerical patterns. So if you're a predominantly logical learner, you should make lists, you should create agendas, detailed plans, you should conduct experiments, engage in strategic games, work through complex problems, and use bullet points and sequential information like timelines. Style 4, social learners. A social learner, by definition, needs to study in the company of others. So if learning was a party, these interpersonal learners would be the social butterflies. They enjoy class discussions and learn best when collaborating with others. This means, of course, that you should use a study group if you're a social learner. You can look up one if you're not sure where to find one, but there should be plenty of options. You can join discussion forums, and you can seek out mentorship, again, for the benefit of studying alongside someone or feeling that you're doing that. Style 6, solitary learners. As the name says, this is someone comfortable studying alone. Imagine a tranquil scene with a lone learner basking in the silence. That's a solitary or intrapersonal learner. They prefer to learn on their own, often through self-study or online courses, and there are plenty of those available nowadays. So practical tips then: as a solitary learner, you can benefit from setting personal goals, using self-study resources, and taking time for reflection. Style 7, linguistic learners. These people love words, so they're wordsmiths, natural-born wordsmiths. They're very good at expressing themselves, both orally and in writing, and they tend to actually love reading and writing. So if you're linguistic, you should try writing summaries of what you've learned, experimenting with different writing styles, playing word games, taking notes when learning new concepts. Style 8, holistic learners. So if you're a holistic learner, you need to put things into perspective, fair enough. You're a big picture thinker. You prefer to have an overview of how each piece fits into the larger puzzle before delving into specifics. Practical tips for you: you will benefit from overview sessions, mind maps, and real-world applications of what you're learning. Style 9, last but one, activist learners. You need to be an active part of the study process if you're an activist learner. You are a doer, you prefer to jump in, learn through experience, and enjoy new challenges and roles. Practical tips: you need to seek out new experiences, role play scenarios, apply what you've learned in real life situations, preferably high stakes ones. We come to the last learning style, which is reflector learners. They need to ponder things as they study. They learn best by observing and reflecting on situations from different angles before coming to a conclusion. So practical tips for you: you should keep a learning journal, you should observe experts, and you should take time to reflect on what you've learned. Now the question is how to identify your learning style. 3 steps that I recommend here. Start by asking yourself some key questions. For example, do I remember information better when I see it or hear it? Do I prefer hands-on activities or theoretical discussions? And how do I solve problems? Through logical reasoning or creative brainstorming. Step 2, once you have this self-awareness, which is a great asset in itself, you should be able to find your predominant style by watching this video of mine again. And step 3, you should try the corresponding activities for that style. In terms of using your style when it comes to learning a language, obviously again you should tailor your approach. For example, if you're a visual learner, you might find flashcards or language apps helpful. If you're auditory, you can use language podcasts or songs, which are a great resource to acquire new knowledge. And if you're kinesthetic, then you might try role play scenarios or even language immersion experiences. To wrap up, just as we all have unique fingerprints, our learning styles are also distinct. But understanding your learning style or your predominant one is not about putting yourself in a box. It's about identifying your style and using strategies that align with it. Afterward, you should experiment with different methods and fine-tune your approach to see what learning style works for you. It might actually be a combination of 2 styles. No matter your preferred style, here's to a world where everyone dances to their own learning rhythm. Different styles will always be good, whether they are about dancing or learning. If you want more, I'm going to provide in the video description below links to blog posts of mine. So I already mentioned the one that talks about overcoming limiting beliefs. But if you are keen to improve your handwriting as an adult, I have a guide for that. I'm also going to share my recommendations for the best grammar books out there. And then also, if you want the right English classes as an adult, you'll have my suggestions linked in the video description below. That's it from me for now. Thanks for watching and see you soon.